Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Retro Gamers Podcast, episode number 340. Larry here,
and Anthony here.
And wait, you're somewhere. Gorgeous mountains, wonderful lake, scary looking trees.
So I got a little too serious in my gameplay of Castlevania II, and I think I'm stuck here.
What? You're actually in Transylvania?
Yeah, I just thought, play the game about Transylvania, go to Transylvania. So, but I didn't mean 8-bit Transylvania. This is very Pleasantville.
Oh, nice poll.
Thanks.
Well, be careful because apparently there's a lot going on over there. So,
is there? I should probably leave as soon as possible.
Bats, mummies.
That might be a good idea.
There you go. Oh, there we go. Nice. Oh, that's our humor, folks. What's going on, Ann? How are you?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Oh my God! After the week I had, and with a little preview from your stay there in Transylvania, 65000. It's been a heck of a week for me. But we're gonna get into all that in just a little bit.
Yes.
But first, we kind of like to start off the show just by talking about maybe some things we picked up and stuff like that. I don't even kind of get right into it. I did make a purchase.
Oh, you totally made a purchase. Don't even act like you didn't.
I did, but before I get to my purchase, curious because I know you visited a game store recently.
Yeah, so I'm currently traveling. When am I not? But I had an opportunity to check it out. I am up in Canada right now. So So of course, whenever I go anywhere, I always look for a video game store to make a purchase. So I can say that I've done that. And I found one in the area called Mississauga, which is kind of spelled like Mississippi, except the end is a little different. And I found this store and I got their card here. It's called We Got Games with a Z.
Of course.
Canada's largest video game buyer. So here's they got their business card, which was really cool.
Very cool.
They have two locations, one in Ajax, Ontario, and one in Mississauga. And I went to the Mississauga one.
Is that the Canadian way, like one Mississauga, two Mississauga?
Yes.
Three?
Yeah, okay. See it on the back of the card?
Oh, look at that. Oh, wow. It is really almost spelled the same. Yeah.
Yeah, Mississauga. So hit them up. I didn't get the guy's name who was behind the counter, but he was really nice. We talked for a bit about stuff. They had a great selection of games. They had some beautiful like in-box stuff, like going back to NES time. Maybe
that's up your alley.
We're right up my alley. And then I saw the prices, and I'm like, even when I converted them from the Canadian dollar to American dollar, I'm like, okay, this is still expensive. Great. But I never like to leave empty-handed, so I did pick up a couple of games.
Okay.
And I would go back to the store again. They were really, really cool. And they had a great selection because remember, I called you.
You did.
Because I know you've been looking for roller games for the NES.
Desperately.
And I couldn't remember that if it was roller games or roller ball. And I saw roller ball there, and I'm like, hey, I think they have what you want. And you're like, nope.
Rollerball is available in spades. For some reason, roller games, which is not even like supposedly it's out there. Yeah, I can go on eBay and stuff. I'm trying to find it locally. Wasn't at the Retro Expo, hasn't been a game on, and I haven't checked any other place yet. So yeah, it's weird that this game is hiding from me.
Yeah, maybe it just knows. And that's why it's trying to avoid being sucked into your collection.
Oh, my poor collection.
I know. It's a nice collection.
It is.
So anyway, I picked up a couple of games. The first one I actually picked up was on Dreamcast.
Oh.
He had a decent Dreamcast selection. And I just realized I did not have this game, so I wanted to add it to my collection. And it's Tomb Raider Chronicles.
Oh, wow.
For the Dreamcast. Now, I have Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 for the PlayStation, but I did not. And I think I have Last Revelation as well, but I never picked up Chronicles.
Okay.
So grabbed a copy of that. And it's in great condition.
Absolutely.
What I love on the back here: Tomb Raider movies starring Angelina Jolie coming summer 2001.
Really? They had the advertisement. That's why I really didn't think they would have that. Yeah,
see it on the back.
That's awesome.
So, and again, obviously it's got the instruction booklet. It's got the game. The disc is in good shape, except somebody wrote on it in marker.
What?
Doing? It says some Home Tech number 406. Maybe it was a rental.
Ooh, maybe. That's interesting.
So
Yeah.
not sure, but that's, I guess, kind of a smart way when you get to the disc versions of I guess, video stores back in the day, a good way to know if somebody swapped out the discs,
Oh,
like,
100%.
and gave you their crappy one.
Well, do you remember for a while there was a concern because, well, it was either rentals or probably just used games when they would put the sticker on the disc.
Yes.
And then there was a concern that actually threw the spin off because of the wobble and everything. Oh, that's maybe something interesting to deep dive into one day.
Yeah. So
how real accurate that is.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was accurate enough that they started using a Sharpie.
Maybe.
But anyway, so grabbed Tomb Raider Chronicles for Dreamcast. Cool. And then the other one that I grabbed was well, one of the things that I saw there that I really wanted was Death and Return of Superman for the Super Nintendo, which is probably the only good Superman game out there. Superman focus game.
I can't think of any other. Yeah.
Right. So he had a copy for Super Nintendo in box.
Ooh.
Which made me very
Chef's
excited.
Kiss. Yep.
Yes. And it was in great shape. But I think with the conversion, it was probably 230 or 240 bucks.
All right. Not
so
the worst thing in the world, but
no, not the worst thing. But I didn't feel like spending that type of premium on a game. So, but I did manage to find in his collection. So I just grabbed it. Is the Genesis copy of Death and Return of Superman. And again, not in box, but it's still a game.
No, totally. And as far as I know, I don't think there's really any difference between the Genesis and the Super NES version. Unlike Batman and Robin, The Adventures of Batman and Robin. But yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, did I originally have it on Genesis?
I don't know if you did.
Interesting.
But I got the Genesis cartridge. Yeah, great game. It's in good condition. The label is the side of the label. I know you're looking it up, but the side of the label's all good. Front's good. Yeah. And the other thought I had too was because this is kind of a hot commodity, maybe I can find the box separately somewhere and then just put it together.
A custom one.
Or get a custom one. But yeah. So I was really actually very happy to pick this up.
An amazing shelving unit?
No, I'll pass on that. So I'm really happy that I got a copy of this in my collection now. So
it's such a good game. And and again, I'm not familiar with the story, 100% familiar with the story. I just know it's like you play as different Supermen because when Superman died, and I actually had that comic too. Lord knows where it went. But when Superman died, like other people
four other people became Superman after that. Yes. Yep.
So very, very cool. All right.
So that's all I picked up. I didn't go crazy. Just
cool.
A couple modest pickups.
Well,
you I know you picked up a couple of things, and just in case you don't remember to bring it up, something from I think eBay arrived this week for you.
Oh, good call. Thank you.
I had a feeling that you were not going to mention it.
Sure forgot about it. I posted it on our social media.
That's why you posted it on social media, so I wanted you to bring it up.
No, definitely will. All right, so I'll talk about that first before the other one. Yes. All right, so yes, I picked up. So when we were at the Long Island Retro Expo, one of the games I was looking for was Die Hard Arcade for the Saturn North American version, and both there and on eBay, it goes for like just under 200, like between 150 and 200, depending on who you're looking to buy from. Reasonably priced for that game. Don't get me wrong. I'm not complaining about that. Just at the time, I didn't have the scratch, which you're going to ask yourself, that doesn't make sense. In a little while, I want to tell you what else I bought. But I ended up that Sunday, I think as soon as I got home from the Retro Expo, I went online and I figured, you know what? Let me see what the Japanese version goes for, and it was a lot cheaper. So I picked up what is called Dynamite Deca, which is the Japanese Saturn version of Die Hard Arcade.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because it looks just like Bruce Willis.
Yes, it does.
And that's basically what happened. This game has nothing to do with Die Hard, the Japanese version. And then when they were releasing it over here, they go, I think we could put two and two together on that one.
Yes.
So, so I got this, just came in the mail the other day from Japan. Great copy, disc looking phenomenal.
Oh, nice.
I didn't see any scratches or anything, so it looks good.
That's great.
Yeah, so can't wait to boot that up. And thank you for reminding me.
You're welcome.
And then the other thing I purchased, which has an interesting backstory and an interesting story as to my intent of purchasing. Now this you've already seen, and I already have my Analog Pocket.
Yes.
But now I have purchased, and I was shocked to get it, the Analog Pocket Glow in the Dark edition.
Ooh, you
Yes,
did.
and
You pulled the trigger.
I did, and through the magic of posts, you'll see everything here afterwards.
Of course.
Yes, this thing came out of nowhere from Analog, this Glow in the Dark edition, and it was already deemed extremely limited quantity, extremely limited
Of
quantity.
course. Of course it is.
So, which
How
is
else
fine.
are they going to charge you a premium for it?
Well, no, well, I mean, it was actually price wise wasn't it was like it was $249, which I don't think is really that far off from the normal Analog Pocket nowadays.
Okay.
Which is currently the regular Analog Pocket now goes for 220, and this was 250. Not
right.
the worst thing in the world.
Not bad. Not bad.
So anyway, so it's the Analog Pocket Glow in the Dark edition. And yeah, so when this thing was announced, I mean, it literally was announced, what, like maybe Monday of the week? And then it went on pre-sale Friday, which was a couple days ago from when we recorded. And it's shipping Tuesday. So this is insane for Analog right now to be on the ball with this. Like to the point where I don't know if they just dipped it in green, just dipped it in green paint and gonna see if anyone notices.
That's basically it's the ooze from Ghostbusters.
No, it really is.
It's like Slimer. Slimer slimed it.
So going into this, I'm like, and I really debate. We were in the chat, with a bunch of us, and I was kind of going back and forth on it. And then I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna give it the old college try. And I honestly was gonna go into trying to purchase it with the full intention and so what I'm looking for, expectation of not getting it.
Well, yeah, because it's you. Like
yep.
I don't know.
Terrible.
I know. I don't know how it happens. You always have like the worst luck when it. No, you do.
No, you're right.
You always have the worst luck when it comes to like a pre-order window where it's like great. Yeah, it's like any type of window where it's like you have to order it right away, and you're sitting there and you're waiting, and the countdown's on, and then it starts, and you still miss it.
I got the reverse Midas touch. Everything I touch turns to crap. But so
and then I can turn that crap to gold.
What?
And then you'll have gold crap.
Oh my gosh, not for nothing. I mean, it's complete opposite of my cousin's husband, who just is the luckiest. Like he just real fast. My cousin Eric, he can buy a random hockey. I've seen him do this. Buy like a random pack of hockey cards. Yep. Like opens it up, like rookie Crosby. Just like, and that goes for like a ton of money. So
that's how it's done.
So in any event, so I went on Friday. Pre-sale went live at 11 a.m. Eastern. Thankfully, I was working from home, so cool. So I had good internet service. So I scheduled my break properly, and then I hopped on Analog, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. Kind of refreshing at about 10:59. Making sure as soon as that thing popped up, went right for it. Now, nice. Analog has made a couple of changes, positive changes, to their ecosystem, I'll call it. First of all, they're finally doing like better shipping rates. Okay. Analog is known for having like outrageous shipping prices.
Well, even the shipping rate they gave you, like.
But here's the thing. So it was $18 ground shipping or $30 like 2-day shipping or whatever. It comes from California. So I made this comparison with someone else. It's like when you go to the movies, you're overpaying for every popcorn bucket you buy, every soda you buy, every piece of candy is all jacked up. Or if you go to a bowl game, same thing. But that walking in. So I know this as I'm purchasing Analog. I'm fully aware that shipping is going to be outrageous. So, but I'll still take an $18 shipping on Analog over anything.
Okay.
So that worked out well. And then they put me, which I'm pretty sure I don't remember doing this with the Duo. They put me into a virtual queue.
All right.
Yep. And that I've experienced with like, New York Comic-Con. So now it's not like everyone like vying for it at once. It's just a few people. And then when the virtual queue came up and then it goes, all right, put in your payment information. I was like, what? I almost wasn't prepared. And then came the part that always gets me. And this is where it screws me up. Proving that you're a human.
Oh, yes. That part.
Yes. And it's not just, click the fire hydrant or click everything that's a bridge. This was something different. It was a picture, and I'm sure the picture was different for everyone. It was a picture of a duck, and I had to click on the duck's head 3 times, but they rotated the picture each time.
Oh, okay.
And like I'm using like my MacBook, and I'm on I got the
trackpad.
The trackpad. So which sometimes isn't as precise.
Yeah, but I know.
Now, as I'm going through this, in my head, I'm thinking, well, there goes another one, there goes another one, there goes another one. You know what I mean? Like the number dwindling.
Yeah.
And then when I got past that, finally it goes, click the button for shipping, to purchase. And then I got an order number. And I was shocked. So good work, Analogue.
So is this now let me ask you, is this a pre-order or just a flat out order? Like it's already ready to go?
Oh, it's shipping. Like I got a tracking information.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, this is
okay. Because if it was a pre-order, I was going to say how long before you cancel it.
No, shush. I still got the Duo on order. So
for how long until you cancel it?
With that being said, here's the interesting backstory to this. So it's not just something random that they go, we're going to make a glowing system. This is actually based on a system I didn't even know existed. It's the Imagineer Game Boy Pocket, which Imagineer is a company that makes video, actually to this day makes video games. But I think it's like a subsidiary now of video games, and mostly over in Japan. And they, back in the 90s, they had a game on the N64 called MRC. I forgot what that stands for. I apologize. But called Multi Racing Championship for the N64.
Oh yeah, I think
yes.
I think I have it.
It was released here in the US. But the Japanese version ran a contest. Where whoever had the highest score or the top whatever had a high score on one of the levels would win a glow-in-the-dark Game Boy Pocket from Imagineer. So that was the only way you were able to get this system.
You're able to get it. I do have MRC, by the way.
Awesome. And only 2,000 were made.
Okay.
To the point where not enough people won the first. So then they did it again for another game of theirs, a Game Boy game called Metarot, which is an RPG. Again, I never knew this system existed. I knew of the Game Boy Light, which was a Game Boy Pocket with a backlight, but the system glows.
Nice.
So I thought it was very cool for Analogue to really deep dive into the history of the Game Boy, and kind of do an homage, if you will, to this glowing Game Boy Pocket, which now I also want.
All right,
but that's another story.
Of course you do. Yeah, and I don't even want to know what that runs, and I'm sure your credit card doesn't either.
What? My card is made of titanium. It's very difficult to melt.
I understand that. Well, you definitely earned a titanium card, I'm sure, after all of your purchases.
But hey, nevertheless, that is why I'm a collector, right?
Yes.
Now here's the thing though, when I get it, do I sell this off, or now do I just keep it as a pure collector's item?
Well, to pull the curtain back a little bit,
a
couple days ago, you offered to sell that to myself or Jack or Rich. So the offer was there.
It was. No one bid on it.
No, nobody bid on it. I mean, to be honest with you, like I told you the way I feel about it. The screen, for me, handhelds are very hard to play. I don't like small screens. I say this on the basis of I've been playing my Steam Deck all week, but the screen on the Steam Deck is like the Switch Deck. It's, it's a decent sized screen where I'm like, okay, I can get through this. When you get to a smaller screen, like a Game Boy size or even an Analogue Pocket, it's just a little too small for me. I just,
you see,
can't deal.
I've thought of, so you've been talking about this reason for a very long time, actually as long as I've known it.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I'm like, did you ever play Game & Watches or Tiger electronic handheld games?
Yeah, I did when I was like 7, 8. Yeah.
I mean, just whether the screen is.
Well, no, as I got bigger, the screens needed to be bigger. That's all.
I don't know. I'm not buying your excuse anymore. I feel like, because
hey, size matters.
Well, this apparently I've been told often, unfortunately. But what I'm saying is, whether the screen is something tiny or you're on like the IMAX, if the game's good, the game's good. And I've told you this before, especially when you got the Retro Freak. All joking aside, the amount of games that are top tier games on the Game Boy, I mean, have been off the page. And I know you've gotten some, like some of the Zelda games and things like that.
Yeah.
But just like, it's just a shame that I wish you were able to experience it then.
Yes.
And then maybe like you would even like nowadays, like as much as you
Yeah.
love all the NES games and Genesis and stuff, to have that passion, but at the same time, because of your loathe of well, that's
not
virtual
loathe.
boy.
It's
I was
yes, I load the Virtual Boy.
I'm sorry. I thought back to the day I brought my Virtual Boy and I set it up on your dining room table, and you did everything short of destroying it. Then,
Yes,
I'm smashing it.
Well, I eventually got
You
back
did.
as far as this out.
You did, but at least now you're able to experience these games for the first time, which in itself is actually something very cool.
No, which is great because look, the fact that you don't buy my explanation. Let's think back. But no, seriously, let's think back to when we were growing up. I mean, granted, you didn't know me when I was younger, but I can tell you flat out, when I was a kid, I never owned a Game Boy. Never had one.
Yeah.
I eventually got a Game Gear from Funko Land. I did the whole trade thing, got a Game Gear. And then I wound up trading it back, not because I didn't like the games, but because the screen was too small. There were X-Men games on there I enjoyed. The Sonic games on there I enjoyed. I could not handle the smaller screen. I don't know I don't know why. It just doesn't work for me. And so even now as an adult, like now I have a Game Boy, an OG Game Boy, because somebody gave it to me. I still don't have a Game Gear, and I would like to add that to my collection. And then you were with me when I bought a 3DS.
Yes.
And I bought a 3DS. I'm like, this is great. I now have a 3DS, and I have a handful of 3DS games. And not only that, before the 3DS store closed, I went on and bought a few games before it closed. And I looked up, like, what are the best games in the store that are going away, right? So I bought a bunch. That's the only time I turned that 3DS on.
Well, to be fair, if we were going to have a conversation about games we bought and never played,
no, but I'm just saying, it's like, but part of the reason why, like, I don't want to pick it up and start playing it is because the screens are small. And I know there are plenty of great games. And now that you have the ability, like with stuff like, they came out with the Super Game Boy, so you could play Game Boy games on the Super Nintendo, like having the opportunity, or like my Retro Freak lets me play a lot of handheld games on my TV now. So now I'm getting to experience those games, and it's great. I was like, but it still doesn't change the fact that I couldn't do it on the OGs.
Okay. Well, good thing I didn't know you back then.
Yeah, exactly. We might not have been friends. Ooh, alternate timeline.
Oh, wow.
Alternate timeline.
Well, with that being said, so I should be getting the the Pocket Glow Pocket Glowworm, as you called it. Sometime this
Glowworm's
week.
your good night friend.
I almost
that was the tagline.
No. I know. I'm trying to remember the song.
Glowworm's your good night friend.
Yes. Oh my God. Yes. Yeah. Oh, and you know what? I think, and this is, you are amazing. I think there was a Glowworm commercial on my episode of Romper Room that I have currently on my YouTube channel, More 365, and all the original commercials are in it, like Gymboree and Super Pac-Man cereal, and the Justice League toys. But I think Glowworms was one of them.
That's
I gotta
awesome.
go back and watch that.
I think my sister had a Glowworm, and you know what? When are we getting a Glowworm video game?
What? Ooh, imagine.
Yes.
Oh man. Well, based on some of the news, maybe sometime soon.
Exactly.
So hey, anyone out there purchase a Pocket or a Glow Pocket? Kind of curious. Anyone was able to get in on this? Let us know. Real fast before we move on in, just hit them where they can find us.
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/Retro Gamers Podcast, on Instagram at Retro Gamers Podcast, on Twitter at Retro Gamers Pod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube at Retro Gamers Podcast, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
When we start paying $8 a month to get that tick
little blue check.
So, yes, exactly. I'm gonna have to say X.
I'm not contributing to that.
So moving on. Well, actually, this I think I want to hit early. Game of the week.
Yes,
Let's talk about
it's
this.
definitely time for game of the week. And I think we could spend a little more time on this one, because this one is, as was it Aaron who said it, 300 plus episodes in the making.
Yes. Cable box mod. Oh, Aaron, I don't have your name in front of me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, whoever
Yeah.
said it, I'm
No,
sorry.
it was Aaron. It's definitely Aaron.
It was Aaron. So
you did me dirty on this one.
I really did, and you deserved it. But the last week I had chosen Castlevania II: Simon's Quest for the NES, because Larry made a promise way back at the beginning of this podcast that he was finally going to play through this game.
Well, first of all, just a huge fan of the Castlevania series, and Bloodlines was just I don't remember.
Really, the whole series, even Castlevania 2?
It's been a while since I played Castlevania 2, but I'm not gonna I'm not gonna discredit it as the redheaded stepchild. So it's part of the family. And when I get the mini NES, I'm gonna have no choice but to play it. So
that's right. What a horrible night to have a curse.
Actually, yeah, like every 5 minutes.
Every 5 minutes, and it would take 5 minutes to show up on your screen.
Here's what we'll do. You know what? I'm going to go on record. I'm not going to wait for the mini NES. As soon as you're done with Shining Force 2, I'll pick up Castlevania 2 and I'll start to play through that. And God help me, you won't play your game till about 2 years from now, because it's going to take me forever to finish that damn game.
I actually finished
a few weeks later jumped on the podcast to say that he's giving up on it because he absolutely hates it.
Yes. And that's where my re-loathing of the game began. Yes, very, very early on. And if I did my research right, you might hear me even mention that. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. So Anthony brought the game up, and I am if and nothing else, I'm a consummate professional. So because
sure you are.
Because it was game of the week, I stepped in with open arms and ready to plow through this ridiculously flawed game, in my opinion. Even though a lot of people love it.
Yeah. We got a few responses about like people that really enjoyed this game. Even Rich, our friend Rich, said like it's one of his favorite Castlevania games, which thank you, Rich. See, people agree with me.
Some people agree with me too about very terrible games. First of all, I want to discuss your portion, because you kind of, and you said you were doing this, you went a different route. I mean, everyone knows Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. It's been around forever.
Yes,
that's one thing, but you tried an alternate version of Castlevania 2.
I did.
That I want to talk about.
Yeah, I did, and that's because a few years ago, actually, it was on one of my trips to Japan, I actually live streamed a full playthrough of Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. So, and that's up on our YouTube page.
Just over 3 hours, I think it took you.
Yeah, it was like 3 and
or at least the video was 3 hours. So
yeah, it might have taken longer. I don't remember. I don't remember if I edited it down.
Yeah.
Nor do I remember what ending I got. So so I had played through the OG, and I've played through the OG a million times. I don't need to play through it again. So I decided to play Castlevania Chronicles 2 Simon's Quest, which it was a fan-made version of the game with updated graphics. It kind of looked like a Bloodstained kind of game, like you know how they upgraded it.
Bloodstained was awesome.
Yeah, but like the 8-bit Bloodstained, you know how they made
Curse of the Moon. Yes.
Yeah, Curse of the Moon. So it kind of had that look to it. So the colors were richer. The gameplay was a lot smoother, and probably the most important part of it, you didn't get stopped every 5 minutes to talk about what a horrible night it was. Like they bypassed that, and then they also made very important tweaks to the game where the dialogue from the townspeople actually gave you the hints you needed to finish the game, and they took away a lot of the elements in the game that were pretty
useless?
Much like not so much useless, but almost impossible to figure out. Like, like the kneeling at the cliff and stuff like that. Like, like they changed a whole bunch of those things. They also blocked roads so that you didn't accidentally go in directions you weren't supposed to yet.
I could have used that. Okay.
Yeah. So in other words, like there are certain areas where it's like, okay, you can't go here until you get like Dracula's rib. Okay, now that you got his rib, you can go through this area. So it actually streamlined the game a lot more. And the most important part, it gave you a map.
Really? Oh my
Yes.
God, that
Yes.
could have helped me tremendously.
So on the menu screen, like on the pause screen, when you pause, there's a world map, and it shows you where it it has everything in like rectangles, and they're all labeled, and it shows you where you are and where everything else is. So it was like super,
man.
yeah. So like everything about this fan remake, absolutely fantastic. And like I said, the other cool things that they did with it, you know how if you needed to use one of Dracula's items, you had to cycle through them on the pause screen. They're just automatic. Once you collect them, they're just part of you. You're always walking around with the rib as a shield, and anything that you need to use them for, it's used. The garlic and the laurels that you have to pick up along the way, you only have to buy them once, and they stay with you permanently.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
So but again, what I like about it, it still takes a while to get through the game, and I'll talk about that in a second.
Yeah, well, go ahead.
Yeah, but it just made everything so much simpler. Oh, I forgot about this part. Most important thing, you know how when you get your items, the holy water and stuff, you also have to pause the menu and cycle through them.
Yeah.
Now it's just like an L or an R or something like that. It's just like
cool. It takes advantage of that.
Yeah. So you can just cycle through them instead of having to pause every time you need to switch your item.
But besides the oak stake in the mansions, when are you ever not using the holy water for majority of the game?
Well, no oak stakes either.
Really?
No, you just you beat the bosses, and then you get the body part.
Interesting. Yeah. Everything that bugged me about this gameplay, they absolutely fixed.
Well, that's why what I was gonna suggest to you, maybe not right now, because I know you just played through it, is to try, maybe next time you come visit, we're in person, I'll have you try it on my Steam Deck, because I know you're kind of like me, trying to play it on the PC, like with a keyboard.
Oh yeah, forget about
problematic.
It. Not working.
Although I'm trying to remember if I managed to get it to work with a no, I did not. Because
really, oh man,
no, because I recorded some gameplay, which I know you're going to cycle through in here.
Yep.
And that's with me playing with a keyboard, and you'll see how badly I play with a keyboard.
You played that with a keyboard?
I played that with a keyboard, and it was awful. I can't do keyboard gaming. I just can't.
Sadistic SOB.
Yeah. Well, I had to do it in order to record some footage for the episode. So, but anyway, but on the Steam Deck, I'm playing with controllers. They revamped all of the enemies in the game.
Okay.
So different battles.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them were really hard. Looking at you, Frankenstein. Some of them were definitely harder.
Wait a minute.
And takes longer to. Yeah, they put him in the.
Oh, I was gonna say, yeah.
No. So the bosses in this fan remake. Yeah.
No. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. When you mentioned bosses, because there's really only one. Dracula. There's a couple others, but you just kind of can run through them. So they actually put bosses in this?
They put bosses in every mansion. So you actually have somebody. Yeah, which is cool. So you go, like, you fight Frankenstein, you fight Camilla. There's I don't know if it's a Cerberus or not, but like a giant devil dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Grim Reaper makes a comeback from Castlevania 1.
Well, he was in 2 anyway, but yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot he was.
But not as you could just walk past them. You know what
right,
I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, like in this one, like you had to fight him. So they put boss battles in, which are definitely entertaining, but they are challenging to get through. Definitely took me a lot to get through some of them. And then obviously finally you get to Dracula. So my playthrough I had a blast going through all of this. Until I get to the end. There's also another aspect of the game, and this is the part where I may have uncovered some type of glitch to the game.
So you're basically testing the game. You're a game tester.
Well, no, not game testing. This has been out for a while, and people have finished and everything like that. But here's what happened. I get everything up until the not the chain whip. What's the Morning Star? I have the Morning Star whip. I don't have the flaming whip yet. I think they included a secret boss battle to get the flaming whip.
Interesting.
Where you face off against the ghost of Trevor Belmont from the first game.
That's pretty cool.
From the third game. Game, right? He was in the third one. So you're facing off against your ancestor, and when you beat him, you get the flaming whip, right?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't do that. right?
Okay.
So I was like, because it's something I didn't know about at the moment. And then like I kind of went online to look it up because I couldn't find the flaming whip. And I'm like, okay, well, how do you get the flaming whip in here? Because normally it's in,
You
I think
just
it's
talk to someone and they give it to
you
you
talk to
after you have
somebody
the
and they
Morning
give it.
Star. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I just went along with the game. I go all the way to the end to fight Dracula. And I'm fighting Dracula, right? And now there are two forms of Dracula in this game, kind of similar to similar to the first one, where you beat him the first time, and then you have like the big demon one. Like they did the same.
Know.
Yeah, they did the same thing as they did in the first one.
Okay.
So I beat the first form of Dracula, get to the demon one, getting killed over and over and over again. But more importantly, none of the weapons that I have are working. Like no damage. And I'm like, what's going on here? So then I went online. I went online, looked at a playthrough, right? And I'm watching and this is the other thing. It's hard to find information on this game because it's a fan-made game. So it's not like there are any FAQs or anything like that online. Saw a couple of playthroughs on YouTube and I see people beating him. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, oh, I go, they have the flaming whip. So you might need the flame whip in order to beat Dracula.
Okay.
Instead of like the other way in the original version. You can beat him in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Well, no,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
You can beat him in 2 seconds in the original. Anyhow, so I'm like, oh, okay. So then this secret boss thing is something you have to do, like the Trevor Belmont bit, so you can get the flame whip. So I'm like, okay, fine. So I start to backtrack. I'm like, I'm going to go backtrack to get the flame whip. Here's the problem, though. When you go to face Dracula, you go into the ruins of his castle. You have to jump off a ledge, which drops you all the way down to the basement. There's no way to get back up. And if you restart the game, it restarts you from your last save point. And where is my last save point? The screen before you face Dracula. So I can't get back up into the top part of the castle to go back through the boards to get the flame whip. So I think I have literally screwed myself where I can't finish the game, which is fine.
Sucks.
Which is fine. But I finished this game 1,000 times before on the OG. I will say, with the exception of that, and maybe I'm missing something, because like as of this, like I literally just got there this morning.
Okay.
So before we recorded this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go back and fiddle around with it and see, or if I can find something online. Because again, can't really find it that much help online with this game.
It's being a fan-made game. You're right. And what we're talking about is Castlevania Chronicles 2, it's being called.
Simon's Quest.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So everything about the game, and I think you too, like you would absolutely love it. If this glitch turns out to be legit, where it's like, no, you're just stuck. That's like the biggest letdown of the whole thing, where it's like, I got all the way to the end, and now the only way for me to go back and beat the game now is to start over.
Oh man, that stinks.
But still, thoroughly enjoyable. Fixes all the problems that you're about to talk about with Castlevania 2, the OG
honestly.
one.
So I played Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Admittedly, I played the version available on the Castlevania Anniversary Edition on Switch, so I don't have the original copy, but still, nevertheless. Everything you mentioned, you're right. That's Castlevania Chronicles 2 fixes was stuff that I was screaming at when I was playing this game. And you said, it goes from day to night and night to day, like every 5 minutes. I read the manual. It is actually every 3 minutes.
Oh, ouch.
Which was more disturbing. Again, I never enjoyed, I wasn't an RPG fan, especially back then when the game first came out, which I still don't know why I owned this game. And then when I tried it, like you said, a lot of those issues, not knowing where to go, dead ends, just some nonsense with some of the enemies and how to fight them. I definitely took advantage of the the save states, which again at this point doesn't bother me, to the point where there be parts that I would just constantly be reloading my save. Like I would say, like there's a very famous part of having to jump moving blocks. And if you don't time it perfectly, you're falling in the water. And as soon as like my feet hit the water, I'm already loading up the save, which puts me when I made sure I saved right before the blocks.
Of course.
So I must have done that like 6 or 7 times in a row. Or I was battling somebody, I forgot who it was. not the Grim Reaper, because the boss battles were actually the two boss battles, if you will, were fairly simple in the original game, let alone Dracula being a piece of cake. But there'd be parts that I would mostly use jumps. That's really what it was.
The
Or
jumps.
the occasional, oh, okay, I just bought some Laurel. Let me exit the shop and walk left. Up, there's water. Like you don't even know it's coming. And then, or the part where you have to kneel down, to again, if you keep going
for the
that's
tornado. For the tornado?
No. The part to kneel down for the water level.
Oh, for the water to drop. Yeah.
The tornado is a whole nother part I'll get to. But that when you walk onto that screen, it's a very short platform.
Yep.
If you don't know it's coming, into the drink you go.
Yes.
And what was most annoying is that, and I game overed where I used the passcode. So like, all right, I'll do this. Because in the original game, if you end the game and then restart it with a password, you always start basically at the beginning of the game. You have all the items that you've earned.
But you're in the first town.
But you lose all your hearts and you lose all your XP. Fine, deal with it. Because at one point I had to purposely do that. I got so messed up. Now, let alone all the hints that are useless in the game. The only
translation issues,
just beyond reproach. The only reason why I know that you had to kneel with a white crystal to wait for the tornado is because when I was a kid, I had a Secrets to the Nintendo video game VHS tape.
Yep.
And whoever the guy was on the video talking about this made it sound like this was like almost like finding like the Ark of the Covenant or something. This news of how to use the white crystal. This was long before learning a lot of the parts from AVGN and his couple of reviews of Simon's Quest. My
cat got skinnier.
Oh my God. Who is that?
This is Jake.
Jake. Oh, a normal human name, unlike unlike other names of other cats. Adorable. I've gotten stuck a few times in this game, to the point where I completely missed, because I forgot about it, completely missed a mansion. The third mansion. Yeah, because when I get to the fourth mansion and I got his nail, I'm like, oh, there's a gap in between his heart and his nail. What is that? I did my best not to look up.
You missed
his eyeball. Yeah. The only things I looked up were just what the items did, because I completely forgot the rib gives you the shield. I'm walking around towns going, where do I buy a shield? Where do I buy a shield? Because I see shields in photos, not realizing that the rib is the shield. Oh my God. How would you know you had to select the heart with the ferryman, and that's how you get to the third castle?
Yep.
I think it was the third castle where I had to purposely game over, and I had a ton of money too. Purposely game over and restart, with the password, restart the game at the beginning, and then go back. So
remind me again, in the OG, the money that you have is it with hearts or it's hearts.
Yeah.
In the fan remake, they separated the hearts and the money.
What was hearts then?
Hearts uses your item.
Oh, now in the original, some items used the currency. Not all of them, but some items use currency. That's interesting, though, that went more like the original.
They went the traditional route. Yeah.
But that part doesn't bother me, because, like I said, literally 99% of the time I have the holy water anyway. That's unlimited.
Right.
So yeah. So that in itself, having to restart, the day and night thing, I'm not even really mentioning, because that in itself is just a pain in the butt.
But on the collection, can you speed that up?
No.
Oh, okay.
And also on the collection, I forgot there's no rewind feature. That would have helped a lot.
Oh yeah.
So no, you cannot speed it up. So I have to wait those 10 seconds every 3 minutes for the transfer. And then in my head, running through stuff, like having to get like to the church to heal up. And like as soon as I get to the door, it's I'm like, son of a gun. Very annoying. Yes. And then finally, now the game itself, I didn't have a problem with. You know, the enemies for the most part were not problematic. Even the Grim Reaper and whatever that giant head was, I got through those real easy, real fast.
Okay.
I mean, at this point, folks, if you don't know about it, Dracula in this game is the easiest final boss in any video game ever made for any system.
Yep.
As long as you have the flame thingamajiggy.
The holy flame, or
yes. Very easy. I mean, literally 1, 2, 3. Even though I did die because I did something wrong, and Dracula got me. But
oh wow, how did you manage that?
I think because my position, I thought I can stand somewhere, and I didn't realize he moved, and I thought because he disappears, and
yeah, he basically kind of goes in a circle.
If you give him long enough,
you did it right, yeah.
But if you time it right, he ain't moving. So that was the first one. Yes. Anyway, and then just having to go around where after I got everything and I backtracked, got all of Dracula's stuff and everything. At that point, I probably walked around for a good, no joke, it reminded me of Metroid games, good 2 hours, trying to find Dracula's castle to end the game.
Oh, okay.
Not realizing it was really simple to just take that trip again on the tornado and then just walk backwards. And then you're on your way. And I came to that part early in the game. There's a part where you cannot break the bricks until you have everything.
Yes.
And I came up to, actually, there's a few parts that are like that like there are impossible jumps or dead ends.
They're blocked off.
It's ridiculous. So I'm like, okay, and that I did read up. I'm like, okay, I got to get everything. Then I can get past that. So that's fine. But I couldn't find how to get there. And I still didn't look it up. I got to be honest. I did not look up how to get back to it. But I must have circled around that game 5 times trying to find a way to go. And then finally I'm like, you know what? Let me take the tornado again and I'll just walk backwards. And then at that point, I'm like, oh, as always, after 3 hours of trekking, doing nothing, the big, oh, there we go.
Nice.
I hate this game. It took me about maybe 17 hours to complete.
Wow.
Oh yeah. I'm not gonna maybe 17. Yeah. I definitely got the bad ending. When I saw the ending, it was in black and white. I knew it was the bad ending.
Oh yeah.
There are 3 endings. There's again the bad ending, the normal, and the good ending. And basically, the bad ending is completing the game in 15 days or more. And I'm assuming it's every cycle. Maybe
the cycle.
Like not day to night, but maybe when it goes back
to day to day.
Yeah.
Day to day. Yeah.
So 15 days or more, you get the bad ending. So that was definitely happening. 8 to 14 days, you get the normal ending. And then 7 days or less, which I think is basically under 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours of gameplay, like is the good ending. And the bad ending is, that's why it's black and white. I didn't realize this till now. The bad ending is both Dracula and Simon Belmont die.
Yes.
I didn't realize that.
Simon succumbs to his injuries.
He does. Did it say that in the text? I don't remember.
It says something like that.
Well, it says, and you, Simon Belmont, will always be remembered for your bravery and courage. But there's only 1 tombstone, so I figured, he probably just left. Normal ending, Simon vanquishes Dracula, but succumbs to his deadly curse placed upon him.
That's the one I was talking about.
Yeah.
The good ending, the normal ending.
And then the good ending is Dracula has been defeated and Simon is free of his curse. So I'm not playing through this game again, but there is, as much as you played through Castlevania Chronicles 2, there is an NES remake, fan-made remake called Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest Redaction.
Oh, okay.
That fixes a lot of this
all
stuff.
The issues.
Yeah. And actually I'm on a website here. I can download it, which I might do later.
Nice.
A lot of the dialogue.
I recommend Chronicles. I would say try the Chronicles version.
Oh no, I get it. Yeah, definitely with the graphic update. A lot of dialogue changes, programming changes, like the day and night transitions a lot faster. Went from 10 seconds down to 4 seconds actually.
Oh, nice.
The transition, yeah. The text goes faster. I don't even mind going from day to night. It's just waiting for the text to finish.
Yes.
That really would annoy me.
Yep. It's like watching somebody slow type.
It really was. And then a couple graphical changes. You can find those online. So yes, so Castlevania 2, daunting. But I got to admit, for the first time since doing these games of the week, I did complete it.
Which is great. And and again.
Hold on, just a quick side note. I'm going to think probably so far the only Castlevania game I've ever defeated. I don't know if I've technically beat Symphony of the Night.
Really? Wow.
I don't think so. I might have.
Okay.
All right. You know what? I might have. I just haven't like 214%ed it. So let's say this is the second Castlevania game I've ever beaten. So
all right. Well, congrats on that.
Thank you.
Honestly, Castlevania wise, I believe I have 4 under my belt.
Okay.
Maybe 5. I don't remember if I beat Bloodlines or not, but I know for a fact I've beaten 1, 2, Symphony of the Night, and Rondo of Blood.
Okay. Yeah, Rondo of Blood, your playthrough through Rondo was really good.
Yes.
Although
it was one of the Rondo had multiple endings and all that stuff, and I just got one of them. So but I'll take it.
Awesome. So with that being said, I know we're running long, but with that being said, my game of the week, I have to go now the complete opposite. I have to go to a game that I absolutely love. I need to cleanse my palate.
Well, wait a minute, but that's what I did. I went with a game I absolutely love.
But this game also you love. So I'm thinking about you as well.
I was thinking about you. I wanted you to fulfill your promise.
Yes, Aaron, there it is, done. The game I'm picking is actually nowhere near as daunting. Not that this was, but nowhere near as daunting as Castlevania. It's actually a port of an arcade game. But if you can find whether the arcade game, the regular version, anywhere you can find it. Only because when I was done with this, I'm like, I need to play something else, and I started playing Elevator Action. So folks, you have nothing else to do. Like I said, pop in Elevator Action again for any system you have, arcade version, whatever you want to play. We'll check that out. We'll talk about that next week. Not as in length as this, but we'll definitely talk about it.
I'll have fun playing that.
Yes, but I definitely need to get my hands on that one. So to play.
No, that's a good choice. I'll enjoy that one.
Yes,
for sure.
Very good. And with that being said, let's get into news.
We have some retro news. You want me to start? Because I know you have some news as well.
Yeah, you can go first. Yes.
All right. So let's start with some retro birthdays. I actually have a longer than usual list here of retro birthdays. And so the first one I want to touch on is just because it's timely.
Okay.
And that is we are celebrating the 15th retro birthday of The Price is Right on the Wii and Nintendo DS. Rest in peace, Bob Barker.
It was on the DS.
It was on the
DS.
That. Yes.
Ooh, interesting.
And I have
Bob Barker.
I don't think I have the OG. I may have both. I know I have Price is Right Decades. I don't know if I have Price is Right.
I have Decades as well.
There were two versions.
Oh, I think I had the original Price is Right as well. Yeah.
So that is 15 years old.
Wow.
This week.
Okay.
Also 15 years old this week. Came out on the Xbox 360. I thought I would touch on this because we're big wrestling fans. TNA Impact. The game is 15 years old now.
Wow. A game I've never played, but now that I go back and sometimes watch some old TNA stuff, because they've been putting a lot of stuff on YouTube. I mean, it's not the greatest of all, but I definitely wanted to try that.
I bought it. I played it. It's okay.
Okay.
It wasn't anything monumental, but it's okay.
That's Impact.
Yeah, exactly. And then continuing on the wrestling trend, going to 2003, we're celebrating the 20th retro birthday of WrestleMania 19 on the GameCube.
Such a good game. Like, it went back to like that game was the first game in a long time where it felt like the N64 games. Great game. Yeah.
Really fun game.
Yep.
All right. Moving on. I got 4 more.
Wow.
We got 2 games celebrating their 25th retro birthday. Both came out in 1998, both for the PlayStation. The first one is Spyro the Dragon, which is now getting a 25th anniversary update, right? To my understanding.
Maybe an anniversary update. They've already re-released the trilogy, but they might be doing something new for the anniversary.
I don't know if maybe that's what it was. And then the 25th retro anniversary, and this is the Japanese release on PlayStation of Metal Gear Solid.
Ooh, that's gonna be timely. Next month when the series comes out.
Yep, we have that collection coming out too. All right, going back to 1993, we have the 30th retro birthday of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Tournament Fighters for the Super Nintendo.
Such a good game. And that game came out on almost literally everything.
Yes, it did.
As far as I know, I think it's one of the last NES games to come out.
I think NES games were coming out until like 95.
Well,
Because I think Super Mario RPG might have been towards the end of
NES, not Super NES. NES.
Oh, I thought you said Super.
Oh no,
NES.
NES. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, then NES. Yeah, it might have been like right at the end. And then the last game to celebrate, we're going all the way back to 1983. This week is the 40th retro birthday of the Japanese Famicom release of Mario Brothers. Not Super Mario Brothers, the original Mario Brothers.
Such a terrible game. Wow, that is awesome.
40 years ago.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's absolutely wild. Do you want to be on the show again? I already put you on the show.
What's Cat's name again?
Jake.
Jack.
Yeah. Jake.
Oh, good. We can have Jake and then Jack. All right, cool.
We have Jake and Jack.
All right, perfect.
We have Jake and Jack. Yay. So those are the retro birthdays I have for this week.
All right, very cool. Very cool.
A lot of stuff. Okay, now getting to some retro news.
Yes.
Got a lot of stuff.
Let's do it.
Some of it is not so retro.
Okay.
And maybe I'll tick off the not so retro stuff really quickly. So Nintendo announced last week that I guess in celebration of the new Super Mario Brothers Wonder that's coming out soon for the Switch.
Such a great direct.
Yep, they announced an all new Red Mario OLED Switch model.
Yes.
So for those of you who like to collect the special Switches, you got a Red Mario OLED, and this cat is clawing the hell out of me. I'm getting destroyed off screen.
Nice.
So yeah, we have that.
Yes, and Verg has a couple little hidden things on it, like coins or somewhere. There's a Mario hidden somewhere, so it's kind of cool, but very neat.
Yeah, very, very cool. Okay. Also,
drops beginning of October.
Beginning of October
6th, I think it does. Yeah.
All right, cool. Again, this is on the newer side of news. This was just an interesting article that I saw on Nintendo Life. Was that Nintendo of Japan, the actual company Nintendo, has recently released information saying that their current employee retention rate is at 98.8%.
Wow.
Meaning nobody leaves there once they start there.
Once you check in, you cannot check out.
Yeah, basically Nintendo's headquarters is the Roach Motel of business.
Hey, look, good for them.
No, but seriously, like that's huge. The average, just to give you an example, other data, the average employee retention rate in Japan in general is 70%, which is huge.
Wow, that's actually kind of lower than I thought it would be, but that's
when you think about turnover here, I'm afraid to find out what retention rate here is.
Hey, listen, I read an article that actually people end up making more money overall in life if you switch jobs like every 3 to 4 years.
Yes, that is true.
So
because as you switch, you ascend, and that's how you do it.
No, I mean like completely different companies and stuff.
No, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
You're better off switching around than waiting for that eventual like promotion type of thing.
That's where I'm at for 16 years.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's not get depressed and move on. All right. Some more news. Let me tell you something. This news made my day. Oh, made me so happy.
Wow.
Announce one of my favorite games of all time. Power Wash Simulator.
This is actually true. I'm putting it for you. It's up there with Zelda and Chrono Trigger.
Oh, dude, I think, and the thing that scares me is that the Steam Deck tells you how many hours you've clocked in these games. I think I've cleared 60 hours in Power Wash Simulator, and
it's a full RPG.
Oh yeah, no, it totally is, and I'm going to continue to climb because they just announced a brand new DLC. You're going to be able to go to Hill Valley.
Oh, man.
With the Back to the Future DLC coming out later this year for $7.99.
Oh, okay.
You're going to be able to power wash the DeLorean, Doc Brown's van, the Hill Valley Clock Tower.
Save the Clock Tower.
The Holomax Theater where Jaws 19 is playing. And Doc's Time Train from Back to the Future 3.
Oh, the train. Does it have the kid weirdly pointing to himself?
I have no idea, but I hope so. So just the fact of like bringing Back to the Future to this is super exciting. So
no, that's awesome.
I'm really looking forward to that.
That's very cool.
Okay.
I hope Marty power washing it.
I know. Okay. This is a very strange. Now here's another thing. All right. Bunch of new games coming out
Okay.
You know, there are a bunch of new games coming
Hopefully.
out, but they all have like new retro style games.
Oh, yes, I love these. Okay.
New retro style games. So the first one that I found is that there is for some odd reason, I don't know, you know, obviously this was outside of my, you know, I was too old to watch this show. Bottom line, but they just recently announced a new Rugrats game coming to PC, consoles, and the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yes, I saw this.
So it's called Rugrats Adventures in Gameland.
Yeah, I never got into Rugrats. I'm not gonna say I was too old to watch because
Yeah.
I'm still watching cartoons and I'll never stop. But I just never got into Rugrats. But obviously, Rugrats a huge deal. A couple of movies. I think there's actually new episodes because Paramount Plus and all this. A lot of shows are coming back. I mean, Frasier's coming back, for crying out loud. So, so I think Rugrats came back with new episodes, or they did like a newer movie where they were older or something. But anyway, very cool to see this coming out on the consoles and PC version. What's pretty cool is that you can play either in retro style graphics or HD graphics.
Yes, which is it's like
it's
a hand drawn style.
Yeah,
which is really cool.
Of course, the NES version is going to be strictly retro, and it's being made by Wallride Games, who previously put out Jay and Silent Bob Mole Brawl on the NES, which I do own, and it's a very, very good game. Like it works. You know what I mean? It just is really good on the NES. Again, new game for an old system, so very cool to see.
Yep, thought that was really cool. And that'll be available at Limited Run Games.
Okay.
So the next one coming out, this one actually got me excited because I haven't played a game for this series in a long time. But G.I. Joe.
I saw this. Yes,
is getting a brand new arcade style brawler similar to the Streets of Rage.
Yes.
So
take my money.
Getting G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra. Yes. So I'm really looking forward to this. You're going to get your choice of different, different G.I. Joe characters, which is great. And this is coming out on the Switch Q1 of next year.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. The last G.I. Joe game that came out, I think, really didn't hit it well recently. But yes, this one looks really cool. The NES, the first NES game, the sequel I wasn't crazy about. The first NES game was phenomenal.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
And some of the characters you'll be able to play as, just really quickly, 4 called out: Duke, Scarlet, Snake Eyes, and Roadblock. And it also says, and other beloved franchise favorites. So those won't be the only ones.
I wonder if we get Sergeant Slaughter.
Ooh, that'd be
cool, right?
That would be either fun DLC too, if they do DLC.
Definitely, because I still want to buy his G.I. Joe championship belt off him.
Yep.
But he told me no.
Yeah. So G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra coming next year.
Cool. Very cool.
All right. This is an interesting one because this was I'm like, what kind of game are we making now? Oh. There is a new Metroidvania game coming out. New Metroidvania. I mean,
that too.
A Metroidvania game coming out in November, inspired by the ever popular Christmas Carol story by Charles Dickens.
Yes, I saw this. Yes.
So it'll be released during the holiday, and I'm just going to read the description really quickly because it just sounds really interesting. Dash through the cobblestone streets of London, encountering malicious phantoms and Malthus's private guards along the way. Fortunately, Ebenezer has spirits up his sleeve, summon familiar ghosts with distinct abilities, including impressive attacks, movement skills, and potent buffs. Repel the unrepentant ghosts lingering in the wake of the dark spirit's return. And then there's more description. But yeah, it's a Metroidvania version of A Christmas Carol. And to be honest with you, I'm all in.
Oh, me too. They're and quite frankly, I better hear like a few amazing tunes. So, like Marley and Marley.
No. That's if we got a Muppet Christmas Carol Metroidvania game. That's all in.
That's the hidden when the love is gone level.
Yes, the hidden version. She shows up on the screen and kills the game. All right.
Awesome. No, I'm looking forward to that. That's so odd. Yeah.
Yes. Moving on to another game announcement.
Okay.
So because we haven't had enough.
Well, yeah.
But it was recently announced. There was a release that came out earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken. If not, it was it did come out. Double Dragon Gaiden Rise of the Dragon.
Oh yeah, it's out. Yep.
Came out in July,
Yep.
right? Now Arc System Works has announced Super Double Dragon and Double Dragon Advance will be coming out for all platforms. They'll be available as standalone digital purchases.
Oh, good. Okay.
So you can buy those.
Yes.
And in addition to that, they have announced a Double Dragon collection for the Switch. The collection will arrive in Japan later this year on November 9th.
Okay.
It will include Super Double Dragon, Double Dragon Advance, and then Double Dragon 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Wow.
You get a full Double Dragon collection.
That is interesting. Super Double Dragon was a very fun game. I actually have someone re-released the Japanese version. I forgot what they call it, Legend of something or whatever. But it's Double Dragon, and it plays slightly different than our version of Super Double Dragon. But still, great game, and what I never originally owned on a Super Nintendo. I never owned Double Dragon Advance, so that I'm really looking forward to. And but very cool to see Double Dragon still kicking it. So
still kicking, which is great. Okay, we got a few more things coming up here.
Okay.
Another announcement. Arcade 1UP. They love creating stuff. They love bringing back stuff.
Yes.
They have recently announced that they have partnered up with Atari for an Atari 50th anniversary arcade cabinet.
Oh my gosh, I think it's running off of a VCS.
No, it is definitely not running off it. No. They don't. Arcade 1UP doesn't want to burden you with that.
How dare you, sir?
So they recently announced it. It has a 17-inch color screen, light up marquee. It has the artwork of the Atari 50th logo and all that. It's all it's like the gold look. And it will include 50 Atari 2600 games.
Wow.
50.
That's awesome.
Now, my question is, it's gonna have Breakout, which means I'm hoping it has the like the trackball.
I saw a picture of it. I think it's got everything you need. Yeah.
It has everything you need to get. Yes, it does have it. I'm looking at a picture of it. So if you like Atari, if you've been enjoying their 50th anniversary and everything that they're releasing, you can get yourself an Arcade 1UP for Atari 50th anniversary.
Very cool.
Okay. Now, for those of you, and I'm sure it's very few, who still own a Vectrex.
Yes, I saw this
way back in the day.
Yeah.
And if you have issues with your Vectrex controller,
sure someone does.
I'm sure they do, because Vectrex controllers are hard to come by. It actually costs you a few $100 just to get an OG controller. Yep. So if you want now, there is a company that is coming out with the Vectrex Plus controller, which offers you the same controls as the original Vectrex arcade style buttons and the joystick, all of that stuff. Looks like it's only going to be out overseas, but it's currently going to be going for 95 euros.
Okay.
The cool thing about it too is you can actually choose the color that you want on your controller. So like it has the original Vectrex like orangey kind of look, but you can you can pick a different color if you like. So if you are interested in that, you can go to, let's see the name of the website.
Oh, I got it actually right here.
Yeah, what is it?
It's our friends over in Germany. Norths.de/der Vectrex Plus controller.
So what he said.
So it's Norths.de/der Vectrex Plus controller with hyphens in between each one of those words.
Each word.
And yeah, this thing looks actually really cool, really solid. I mean, Vectrex is now my next holy grail. So but this thing looks really cool. I don't know if it's a company as much as just this guy doing it over in
could just be a guy.
Germany. But nevertheless, very cool. Check it out. We'll put a link in the descriptions.
Yep. Okay, and then moving on from there, we haven't talked about auctions in a while.
Oh no.
And I saw this and I just thought it was interesting. And it's not a mind-boggling auction, but it's just a nice one to point out.
Okay.
That there was a prototype of Ghostbusters 2 for the NES.
Oh, really? Ghostbusters.
That recently sold at Heritage Auction for $1,000.
Okay.
So it's on an NES cartridge, but the label is just a general yellow label that says Ghostbusters 2 on it.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Activision version of Ghostbusters 2 because there was actually another game called, I think, was it New Ghostbusters 2 or Ghostbusters? There was like another.
Oh,
There were
I
two
know what you're
different
talking about.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Those are like the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it was
Well,
called the New Ghostbusters 2.
the one with the
So
monkey. Yeah.
yeah, but this was actually an auction. There were a bunch of games being sold. There
Okay.
was a prototype of Ghostbusters 2 that went for 1,000. There was a prototype for the Game Boy and SNES game Word Tris,
Good game.
which went for over 1,400, and a prototype of Solomon's Key 2 that went for over $2,100.
See, these make sense to me to go for as much as they're selling because they're prototypes, so they're extremely limited. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Very clear. I'm looking at a picture now, Ghostbusters 2, the prototype. Yeah.
Yep. And then moving on to something which I know you something I know that you looked up as well. I know you missed out. You missed out on like was it a Metal Gear watch a little while ago? Was that
1942? 1942.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1942. It was a 1942 watch that Larry missed out on. But Larry, you can now decide if you want to buy a Space Invaders watch from Seiko.
Yes.
Seiko's releasing a Space Invaders watch to celebrate the game's 45th anniversary. Space Invaders came out in 1978, 45 years ago.
Yeah.
This special edition watch will be limited to 1,978 units.
Love it.
Also 1978.
Love it.
So Larry, there you go. For the slim price of $375, you can have yourself a Seiko Space Invaders watch. And most importantly, only available in Japan. I checked the website; it's still available.
Yes. Thank God I'm not a watch guy. I mean, the type of watches that have been coming out and watches go for a premium.
Yes.
But this, I mean, again, just the little intricate pieces, like you see all the Space Invaders kind of in the background of the watch.
Yep.
The different ones for the minute hand, the second hand, and all the other different dials that are on there.
Yep.
The back of the watch saying engraved 45th year, exploring space, as it says. Beautiful watch.
The box too. The
box looks amazing. Yeah, I mean, the box alone. It goes for roughly $375 US. 3 different sizes, but yeah, I mean, just again, thank God I'm not a watch guy. But if I was, this would definitely be purchased. Absolutely.
Yep, and this one's shipping January of 2024.
Awesome.
And then the final bit of news that I have really quickly is that Nintendo recently announced that their Switch sales have surpassed the Wii's lifetime sales in the US.
Wow. All right.
And they said Zelda Tears of the Kingdom put them over the edge on that. So,
you got to double check your sources because not everything is always accurate.
So the Switch has now sold overall, as of June 30th, over 129 million units.
Oofa.
The Wii was 101.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So,
all right.
Which is crazy. And that's what I have for news.
Yes, well, you definitely touch on all that. I got one final thing to mention, then we'll wrap this up.
Yes.
And this thing, where it goes, I'm actually going to share my screen here in a moment. There it is. So, recently, very recently, the what's the word I'm looking for? Renewed or fixed Nintendo Mario mascot costume.
Yes.
It's finally complete. There was this costume.
Creepy, scary Mario.
Oh my God. It is the things nightmares are made of. And the Mario costume, which was used in 1989, myself and Anthony, who we did not know each other back then, but we both attended the 1990 Nintendo Power Fest at the Jacob Javits Center here in New York City. So we probably ran into each other, but we definitely saw this monstrosity.
Oh, yes, we did.
And let me just share this here.
It gave me PTSD when I saw the article.
Oh, boy. There we go. Boom. There he is. Now, that's the completed costume.
Wow.
Actually looks really cool. All right, look, you got to put yourself in 1989. For 1989, it was really cool looking.
That is frightening.
Now, to see what it looked like in 1989, that's what it looked like back then. This is from Art of Nintendo Power from their X page.
Yep.
And I mean, I looked. I don't know if this was the Javits, but I definitely tried seeing if any one of these people were us. That is not me or you. But
What are you
nevertheless,
talking about? I could have been blonde.
I thought
Then
maybe
that
this
could
was
then
you.
that can be you on the left. That can totally be you on the left.
Do you remember leaving and getting dolls that looked like these? A Mario and Luigi doll?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Now, here's what it looked like when this particular company or whatever they were received said outfit.
Let's see it. Oh, it's Picasso Mario.
Really? You know, in the beginning, like when you booted up Super Mario 64, you can play around and stretch and everything.
Yep.
So obviously, this was when they received the costume. A lot of it was destroyed, or not destroyed, but just falling apart.
Oh yeah.
That I'm shocked this wasn't what we got in 1989 or 1990. No,
that's insane.
But they fixed it. It's looking good, and nevertheless, very cool to see Mario saved after all these years. So, but that was frightening.
I hope he gives nightmares to a whole new generation of children.
And then finally, this is something though we can't talk about only because we don't have the knowledge of it, but we got to get next time we get Jack on here. The Mister is constantly being worked on. And apparently one of the things that people thought would never happen is actually getting one step closer to happening with an N64 core on the Mister. A lot of people saying that's one of the hardest systems to do for the Mister, let alone FPGA. They just recently did a PlayStation and a Saturn core, which I heard was very good that they got that. But they're coming along. There's a programmer, Robert Peep, P-E-I-P, who's been coming along with an N64 core project. So hopefully very soon we'll see that. And maybe
very nice.
At that point, we'll see an FPGA version. Polymega getting the emulation down, which is good. At least we got that much.
Very
and with
true.
that, I think we're going to end it.
I think that's more than enough.
Yes. One more time, man. Where can they find us?
You guys can find us on Facebook.com/RetroGamersPodcast, on Instagram @RetroGamersPodcast, on Twitter @RetroGamersPod. You can listen to us wherever you listen to podcasts. You can watch us on YouTube @RetroGamersPodcast, or you can email us at email@theretrogamers.com.
And with that, we're going to call it a day and enjoy your time away.
I will. You have a good week. Enjoy elevator action.
Oh, I can't wait. You too. And folks, we'll catch you everywhere next week on the Retro Gamers Podcast.